Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Unfiltered Experience with myself, Christopher Rausch, and my beautiful co-host, Mr. Scott Goyette. What's up, Scott?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing awesome, man. You know, all things considered, I'm doing pretty good. I actually just slid in here myself. I was just taking a shower and was like, oh my God, we're going live in like 2 minutes. Like, got to finish everything and get everything done. So, yeah, good to see you. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, same. So, yeah, if anybody saw how that really happened, I was literally running down my stairs, dove into my chair, and then you pulled me in as I sat down. So it's kind of funny, like if you could see the behind the scenes of the whole thing. So obviously that's why I'm laughing.
Yeah, well, I was going to talk it up for a second, but I'm like, you know what? This is the Unfiltered Experience. Let's just see what Scott's got. Let's see what he's got. See if he can
He'll
just
be okay.
jump on. Yeah,
He'll be all right. He'll be all right.
We're pros. We're pros from Dover. Oh
go.
man. So yeah, so we're doing a special broadcast here, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, you saw from the title of the show, trying to figure out what's going on from the incidents that happened yesterday in the state capitol here in the United States. Of course, you saw, no matter worldwide, you guys saw what happened here in the United States. And we're bringing this conversation to you guys to have this conversation with you, because that's what the Unfiltered Experience is about. It's bringing you into a safe place where you can have an opportunity to share your perspectives and your opinions in a nice and respectful way. That's one thing we really wanted to make sure that you guys understand, and from the get-go on this thing. It's not about anger and hate and deceit and all, and you're wrong and I'm right. That's not what Scott and I are about. Scott and I are about bridging the gap and the divide of what's going on in this world and making it a better place for our kids and the people that follow behind us. So yeah, I know, Scott, you have a lot of opinions about this, and I'm sure we're going to have a lot of people that are going to be engaging with us. So again, if you guys are in the chat, please engage your opinions, your comments, and even if you have something strongly opinion, we may bring you on the show. We're gonna keep this to 45 minutes. We want to respect your time and everything, but we just want to really have an open and honest conversation about what happened yesterday, and perhaps invite some perspectives to you guys to help process what it is that's going on, so it doesn't become another negative for you, and it does become an opportunity for us to find where we can heal and grow back together. So Scott, I know you have a lot of thoughts on it. You did a live last night. You did a great job on that and sharing your perspectives very eloquently, because I know we have very passionate feelings, and I could easily come on here and go, yeah, I mean, emotionally I'm angry and I've got all these different things, but you did such an eloquent job last night in your live. I'd like you to kick it off and just share a little bit of that with the viewers today.
Cool. So why don't we start with some simple facts, because it's something that we've been lacking in our country and the world for a long time. Facts have been something that are getting mixed up in a lot of misinformation. So here's a simple truth. If you feel something, it's real. So your feelings are real. So if somebody is feeling something that triggers them to be angry or to be sad or to feel shame, that feeling that kickstarts that is a real thing. And we've been denouncing that for way too long in humanity. Men are told not to feel. Don't cry. Don't do this. Don't do that. Just act like a man. And this definition of like strength to ignore emotion is ridiculous. And the same thing happens to women, and the same thing happens to us in so many different parts of our existence. So if we can agree with the fact that feelings are real, feelings become emotions. Now, this is what's happened in our country. Now, for a long time, politics in the world has been driven based on demographics. So we look at a group of people and we say, okay, let's appease this group. And when I say we, I'm just saying the leadership. So you might say the demographic might be females or blacks or Hispanics or whatever the group is. And when we look at that, we've tried to, when I say we, again, I'm saying politicians' leadership, they've tried to manipulate or manage based on what they believe is going on in that group. So, we can just do some like data recovery and we can figure out this is what this group supposedly wants or needs. What they've gotten into is psychographics. And so what's happened is they're literally doing what we've spoken about in this show before with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They're going after people who are weak in the sense, and weak's probably not the right word, in the part of the pyramid where they have emotional safety lacking, physical safety lacking, or a social group lacking. So imagine, let's just step out of everything with no emotion for 1 minute. Imagine if we're sitting here right now and you don't feel safe. You truly don't feel safe. What does that feel like? Just sit with that for a minute. What does it feel like if you don't feel safe physically or emotionally? And then let's say you get a little bit safe, but you don't feel connected. That's a crappy feeling. Somebody in our society has taken advantage of that. It's not one person, it's more than one person. It's many people, but we've seen it with one person very specifically, that they've taken advantage of that. And here's the big issue that I have, and I'm going to share a story from when I was doing a Go Love Now program that's going to explain a lot of this. But the big issue I have right now is everybody could see this coming. Everybody could see this coming. But if I'm sitting in this chair in my nice house with my nice cars and my ability to travel and have the meals I want, if certain policy doesn't affect me, all the things that are going into that psychographics, all the things that are going into peppering the minds of people who aren't complete should not be acceptable just because I'm getting mine. That's what just happened. We just watched a large percentage of our country say, but the policies are good. It's just what it is. Just deal with it. And this was created by something I want to share with you right now. And I don't mean to take up so much time, Chris, but I think this is important.
Powerful stuff.
So I was doing a program with Go Love Now at a middle school in Austin, Texas, about 2.5 years ago, because it was pre-COVID. And we had a group called the Champions Group. And the Champions Group were students that took all the love and fear principles of the Go Love Now model, and they brought them to the school so they could be examples of that. They could be champions of these things that we're teaching. And one day I come in and the assistant principal goes, I'm going to leave. You tell them what you guys did. I have a group of Hispanic and Black 13 and 14-year-olds, both male and female, sitting here. And I'm just like, what just happened? And they're like, tell them what happened. So I guess what happened was one of the Hispanic girls called one of the Black boys the N-word. And try to get 13 to 14-year-olds to explain this to you. You don't know what's going on. And then you're like, what am I supposed to do here? And this is what we uncovered. She called him that. And then he goes, well, at least I'm not. And he had a slur for Hispanics. And then she goes, well, at least I'm not that. And they kept going back and forth till there were fistfights and the whole school broke out in a fight. This is what society has done to us. Society and humanity has stolen our brilliance. And we're just fighting not to be last. So the Hispanic girl is telling this boy, at least I'm not Black. And he's saying, well, at least I'm not Hispanic. And I asked him a question. I said, well, where do I fit into this? Because I'm a white male sitting here and I love you guys. And they go, well, you're not like us. And I'm like, whoa, time out. And so we just had this amazing, we all walked out of that room, changed people. We all walked out of that room, different people, because we said, we're no longer going to accept that humanity or society has said that at least I'm not that. Those kids, because I followed a few of them, those kids have come so far based on that one moment. So this is that same moment in the macro to what that was in the micro. So right now we have an opportunity. We can sit here and realize that we've been pushed down and there's a group that stormed the Capitol or a group that, burnt down, whatever. That's behind us. And I don't even want to get deeply into which side. I mean, I definitely have my opinions on that. And they're probably pretty evident if you look back at my social media. I want to take this moment to start right now to instill brilliance in all of us. Now, do you have emotions that are real? We just talked about that. Are people angry, disgusted, and just fed up, and they just want to drop everybody who supported this person in social media and real life? Totally get it. And quite honestly, I'm going to say this. I know both you and I were going, should we write one of those comments? Should we do it? And I stepped back and I said, human beings are in this situation where you're calling one person, at least I'm not that. That's not what we need to be. I don't have the perfect answer on where we need to go, but I can tell you this. The minute we start realizing people feel, people have emotion, and we have this beautiful opportunity right now, because essentially we're all naked. We've shown our cards. Now, what do we do with it? And so that's what I wanted to preface with. I just wanted to start to get people to really realize that this is an opportunity. There's two ways that we can create true equity and create a better humanity. One, burn the place down and start over. Or two, we can really try to rebuild this, but it's going to take all of us. And so one of the two is going to happen. We're either going to have to burn the whole thing down or start sharing and act like, it's kind of funny. I was going to say and start sharing and acting like children. We're always told to act like adults. Maybe we should start sharing and act like children. Kids are like, you want some of my candy bar? Let's eat it together and play together. Let's do that. Why don't we start acting like children?
Yeah, I know it's funny you say that, Scott, because you know that you guys all know I have a 4-year-old son, and one of the beautiful blessings in having a young son is being reminded of how much we lose as we grow up and how much we're told, not to be like a kid anymore. But realistically, when I see my son go on a playground, the first thing he doesn't look at what anybody's color is or anybody's political belief is. He goes up and he just wants to play with them. He just wants to go have fun with them. So yes, returning to that childlike state, I think is very important. And I love what you said. Everything that you said, I completely agree with. And what's interesting is as you're saying it, you're very eloquent and very mellow. But I know there's people out there that are feeling, extraordinarily frustrated, like both you and I are. And we are the bridge to what we want to see and what we want to see happen. You and I could easily come on here and be cathartic and sit there and go, okay, this and that, and this and that, and this and that. But the one thing we want to express to you guys is life is about growth. Life is not about receding back into something you were. Life is not about, the groupthink or anything else. Life is really about your independent ability to pivot and change in any moment in time based on the circumstances as they change. Now, the thing I look at, through this experience, Scott, and I admit it, when I was going downstairs yesterday, I don't watch the news or follow the news much. I figure I'll hear about it, and I could hear some screaming and some yelling downstairs. And I'm like, okay, my son's upstairs. I don't know what's going on. So when I went down there, I was just before I was going to be interviewed, and I looked on the TV, and the first thing that came to my mind without even asking anybody, I'm like, wow, reality TV is getting really good. That's what I really thought. And I have a lot of opinion about reality TV and how this plays into a lot of what has happened. All the reality, we've been so hypnotized, so conditioned, so brainwashed with reality TV that when reality hits, we're like, oh, somebody died today. That sucks. Oh yeah, something, we just get complacent about it. We get mundane about it. And when I went later on, I went back downstairs, and much to my chagrin, as much as I don't like watching the news and being involved in it, obviously this is a fuck. It's an extraordinary time in our US history, in the world history, to see that. I just literally, the hair on my arms goes up, and I was just like, what? They stormed the Capitol? There's people in there with a Confederate flag. People went on the Senate floor. People are in what? I couldn't even speak. I was like, this is a joke, right? This is some sort of drill. Nobody would do that ever in our entire life. There has got to be a level of respect of something in this country and in this world. And I was just blown away. I went back downstairs and I watched TV for 2 hours, and I was like, wow, I saw somebody get shot. And I was like, wow, I was just completely blown away, because you and I agree. We're looking at the world from a place of how we can be unified. And I've said it before many, many years ago. I'm like, we're starting to act like the divided states of America instead of the United States of America. And I would always get on my soapbox and say, hey guys, remember after 9/11? Remember how beautiful fucking America was? Remember all the American flags you saw flying around on the cars, and people like, hey, what's up, brother? We're America. We're going to get back at them. We were a team. Whether we disagreed or not on anything, we were a team. We were a solid fucking team, right? And then what happened? Everybody kind of goes in their own little thing. Shit starts happening. Life starts happening. And for me, Scott, I've said this before. I really don't think this is about politics. I really do not think this is about politics. This is a psychological situation that is going on deep in the minds of people who are severely distorted in their perspective of what's going on in the world. And, I pray to God that I'm not the one that ultimately is going to be the one that finds out he's distorted, but all the evidence and everything else in obviously humanity proves that what's going on. And I just pray that through conversations like this and helping people understand where it is that we can heal from and grow from is really super important to me, because I don't want to leave a world that's screwed up to my son. No kid in this world deserves to inherit this stuff. So we as adults, we have a responsibility to put our big boy pants on and sit there and say, okay, enough is enough. Enough is enough. If you live in the United States of America, whatever side you're on, whatever fucking opinion you got to start working towards the middle. Other, like you said, burn it to the ground. And I'm scared to death to say this, but sometimes I think that might be the way. But I in my heart, I do not believe it. I do not see it. I do not feel it. I know I've met so many people who are I've met murderers. I met so many people in my life that all have a good heart. I believe everybody has a good heart, no matter where they're at. You just have to find out where it comes from. And that starts with us looking inside. You can't sit there and look at everybody else and say, you're doing this, you're doing this. You got to look within yourself. And that's one of the things that I've really seen in this, Scott. And that's honestly one of the things that troubles me is like you said before, and we did a show on this on our other show. Do you throw the baby out with the bathwater? Because somebody has a different opinion of you, do you throw the baby out with the bathwater? And before I was of the opinion, no. Everybody's got their opinions and their perspectives and But honestly, one of the discussion points I wanted to have today is are we at that point now where if somebody is still supporting, someone who is in a position that can affect other people in such a magnitude, if they still believe that that's good, where are our values and our ethics and our morals and everything else? I don't know.
So I don't have the perfect answer for that. And I've been sitting responding to, my direct messages just being blown up with comments where, one person is saying, if you support Trump still, not did you vote for him, do you support him now? Then just defriend me. And I've seen that by a lot of people. And then I've seen some harsh counter comments that I'm sitting in between them both. And I'm like, this is psychographics in action, right? This is what happens is you've got an identity. You've got an identity that you built, a foundation. And within that foundation, everything you hold to be important, whether it's your religion, the way you should behave as a man, what you need to do as a protector, whatever these things are, you have a way that you've decided is what you are. And for someone to come in at this point right now and say, are you willing to question that? People are afraid to do it. Are we able to? I'm noticing too, there's no comments, and I know a bunch of people were jumping on here. Are we on 2 streams?
Yeah, whatever happened the other time, it's happening again. So I don't.
So
this is actually
one's in YouTube and one's in. So I don't know if you're able
Unfiltered.
to get. Yeah, one's in Unfiltered.
I'm not sure what to do. I'm actually looking at the comments on the other screen. The other comment I was gonna talk about them as we were talking about them. But
talk about them. I don't need to see them. Yeah, tell me what's going on. What are people saying?
So we got, and thank you guys all for being here. We really, really, truly appreciate this. Every problem in our world is a problem of the heart. Get your heart right, and worthwhile actions will follow. John Harrell. Yes, absolutely. It's super, super important. Yeah, we got 26 comments. Let's
talk about that for a second. While you're reading those, let me share something on that. So one of the things that Chris and I have really been talking about, just exponentially, and the importance of it is if everything is revolved around creator, source, God, or the heart, all we are is extensions of that. So we're sitting at these points at the end of our extension, and rather than communicating through the heart, in other words, through source, through what truth is, we're just talking next to each other. So we're sitting here speaking from the ego. And so visualize this. If we never do what's necessary to dive deep into ourselves and find truth or connect with the heart, and we're only speaking with the ego and pent up emotions because we've got identities that we've created that have told us not to feel, this is exactly what's going to happen. The great thing is the predictability of what's going on right now doesn't take a mathematician. You can just sit and just do some quick observation, and we could have predicted any of this. What we've got to do now, and John's point is right on, is we've got to, first of all, we got to learn, what does it mean? Because like everyone keeps hearing it. What does it mean? Okay, it's like connect to the heart. What are we just going to put our hearts together, do like hugs, but COVID friendly from 6 feet out? No, here's what it really means. It means sit with somebody and just be with them. Like have a cup of coffee and be like, what are you feeling? Look them in the eye. There's something amazing about look someone in the eye and just feel them. Feel them. It doesn't, maybe somebody you don't know. Maybe me and John Harrell need to go do a 6 foot out coffee and do some eye gazing together.
It works.
I know he wants that.
Glenn Worshire had us do that in an exercise. We had to sit there and stare at somebody for like 5 minutes, and it was crazy how much you felt connected to that person. It was really weird.
Unbelievable. Just very smart. I would suggest that everybody go do that right now. Go find somebody who's wearing a different t-shirt than you, one that says, again, I fully, and I have, again, I respect my feelings. I didn't bring my feelings here with me right now. I didn't bring my emotions so that I can speak intelligently, but I'm definitely have some disgust. I have some anger. I have some sadness. I have some deep irritation, no question. But again, me sitting here and bitching about that, I don't think is going to serve anybody, and that's not what we're here to do. So.
Absolutely. Great point, Scott. No, and if, guys, if this conversation is impacting you, please share this more than any other time. We just want to be able to show that people can get together, have a conversation about this stuff. Scott, I'm looking at this. We got John Harrell, Jean Guise here, Teresa Silcox, good to see you, Darlene, Larry Schneider, Leanne, I don't have my glasses on, Christina, Cindy. Cindy says, love you loads, just can't deal with the chaos. So maybe next time my empathy is too high. Of course. I mean, literally, like I was like yesterday, I'm going to go live right now. I'm like, oh, stay away from the microphone.
Yeah, I did it. And I was able to stay calm, which worked out.
Yeah, you did it. I was like, Anna De Prez, what's up, sweetheart? Love you. Joan Anton is here. Darlene.
Angel
Teresa
on this
Adams.
thread.
What was that?
Angel's on this thread too as well.
Yeah, Angel, Richard Rogers. What's up, Richard Rogers from Dallas, Texas? Hey. Richard's a huge political junkie, so appreciate you being here, buddy. Jean Guy says, I truly believe in what Scott's saying. I also believe that the situation has tossed and decent politics out the window. Whoops. Yeah, exactly. Out the window, fueled by anger and hate fueled the situation yesterday. Absolutely. Teresa says, an empathetic person, I physically feel ill. True. I feel you, Teresa. Yesterday, I felt sick to myself. I was like,
I'm with you.
That graphic of the Statue of Liberty, Scott, where I've had friends from New Zealand, from India, from England, from Australia, just like, dude, I'm like, are you going to move? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to move. I'm an American. I'm a United States citizen. I love my country. I'm not going to bail on my country, but geez, some days you sit there and kind of wonder, that's one of the questions I was going to pose to you, Scott. And some days I really think about this. And as much as we want love and unity and we want togetherness, but I think back to historical times when there were tribes, there were, these people sat with these people, those people were those, you had your tribes and, it seemed to have worked. I mean, commerce and everything else affected that and, everything expanded. But in some respects, looking at the numbers, even looking at the Georgia numbers, dude, I watched politics a lot part of my life. I was like, is this some sort of joke that it's that close? How is it that? So it just tells me like 50%, half of the country, literally half of the country is here, half of the country is here. And some parts of me said, and I get my hair stands up, some parts of me said, just draw a line down the middle. You guys go do what you got to do. And I think that's what they're trying to do. Personally, you guys go do what you need to do. We're going to do what we need to do. We want love, unity, happiness, opportunity, prosperity, abundance, love. And you guys go monkey fuck yourselves, whatever you want to do. That's kind of like my beat. But again, I look in the future and I look for Jackson and I look for all the young people out there. And I do not want to see that. I don't see that. But where is your perspective on that?
You just said the perfect word. You said the word abundance in there and you said the word love. This is exactly what's happening right now. So go back to what we were talking about. The feelings are real. The emotions are real. We talk about the tree analogy all the time where, I'm sitting in the river and the river starts picking up and I'm going to hold on to that tree I grew up next to because that's my strength. Eventually I'm going to drown if this river kind of keeps rising and flooding. The way to succeed is to surrender into the river because it's going to take me somewhere. And let's face it, there's always beautiful places next to rivers. There's fertile ground, might go out to the ocean. It's going to be someplace good. That's the way life is going to bring me. And the universe delivers what I need. For me to have the illusion that my whole existence needs to be under this tree, that's the problem. And I think that so many people right now are clinging to what I would call a sense of lack instead of realizing abundance. So watch this. I have heard the same arguments over and over. I don't want to pay for their this. I don't want to pay for their this. Well, those people do that. They're victims. I'm not going to babysit them. Life isn't pie, guys. There's not a finite amount of slices. We have infinite brilliance and infinite potential. Let's sit here for a second and just say that again. You ready? Life isn't pie, guys. There's not a finite amount of slices. So because that person gets some pie that I help them get, doesn't need to ruin my life or take my pie away.
Exactly.
Watch this. You ready? Watch this. If you're in gym class when you were a kid and you tell a kid you suck, but we'll take you, what does that kid do when you have them on your team? The kid sucks because you said they sucked. They experience a sense of, I can't have abundance. I can't have infinite potential. they become what you said. So if we continue to tell this group, you're mooches, you're this, you're this, you're this, then that's what they're going to be. But if we just express the fact that every individual has infinite potential and can maximize their brilliance beyond anything that we've really pushed people to do yet, and I say yet loud and clear, once we start to get people to max out their potential and we truly educate, and I don't mean indoctrinate, I don't mean feed people BS, I mean the stuff that I'm doing in class with my students. I'm getting these kids to believe their dreams beyond what anybody's ever told them. And I constantly get feedback. This kid's doing this, or they're doing things like, I can't believe I'm doing it. I'm like, you're doing it because you believed. So you can believe. The minute we drop this lack bullshit and we live what's a truly abundant life, really think of this. Here's an easy way to look at it. We're all batteries and we're functioning right now at 10%. So whatever we're powering is running. Because at 10%, it's still running. But man, it might eventually die. We might be that smoke alarm beeping because we're about to die. But we have the capacity to be at 100. We don't know it because we didn't know that we could recharge. We start educating, that creates the recharge. We start getting people to tap into their brilliance. There will be so much for everybody, that there will be nobody left out. And the fact that we haven't seen that as humans is sad, but it's an opportunity for infinite transformation. And that's starting right now. And that's where we're at. So do we burn the place down? Can enough people grasp what we're saying and start building the brilliance from the least among us? That's what we got to do. I mean, this isn't genius. And this includes those people that are storming the Capitol. Those people have brilliance, but they're lost. They have zero emotional safety. They tapped into a leader that, brought them in a different direction. Now, I don't know, can you heal that in this lifetime? Listen, I'm not a professional at all this stuff. I'm just saying this. I don't know that we're the definitive answer because I don't know how quickly people can make this happen, but I certainly know my students move quickly. That group of Hispanics and Blacks at 13 years old, that everyone's told, these are the troublemakers of these kids are going to be in jail. These kids are a mess. And maybe an hour and a half, we sat in a room together and figured our crap out. Was that an accident? No. They were heard. I connected with them. They realized they had hope. That's what we got to give to people. So,
right. I mean, we definitely have to give hope, and we have to figure that out. One of the things that it's that just stung in my mind again when I was thinking about yesterday and thinking about some of the images that I saw is, I'm like debating if I ever want to talk about it, but it's the double standard of the fact that, they barged into the Capitol, and actually Richard Rogers here said, seeing the posters on the wall, Richard is, a huge historian in politics. He's served in presidential situations. He goes to Washington, D.C. a lot. And for him to say that, it was just really mind blowing. And I was sitting there looking at, everybody just filing out of the Capitol, and they're just like orderly and they're looking around like they're tourists. And I was just like, I'm sorry to say this, but I'm going to say it. If there were Black people or Mexican people, or if it had been anybody else, my fear and my gut says there would have been a lot more people killed and shot. And that's what really starts to get to me is like, how is this going on? And me, Scott, I'm like, okay, yes, I'm mad. And my first reaction, honestly, and I'll be transparent about this, I said, every motherfucker that's coming out of that place should get shot in the head. Now, I said that initially based on emotion, but what I'm going back to say, building on what you said, and when you said brilliance, I was like, well, and then you said maybe not in this lifetime. I'm like, yeah, probably. But at the same time, looking at the core of somebody and realizing that, where does this come from? You and I talk about it all the time on our shows about the root cause of a problem. We're seeing the symptoms. We're seeing thousands of different symptoms present themselves in society, and what we went through in 2020 and what we're continuing going through in 2021 are the symptoms. That's one thing that you and I agree on, is trying to figure out what the core of that is. And going back to that, I don't know, Scott, it's pretty miraculous, but I go back to the Black Lives Matter marches and seeing the diversity and seeing the world unite around that. I truly believe that this may be one of the most, fucked up times of our lives, but at the same time, having that vision, that future to say, okay, maybe we don't burn it down, but maybe we got to go through a little bit more pain.
Yeah.
And obviously I challenge the people that, have said, I knew this was going to happen. I challenge all you guys out there to say, hey, listen, just because they went through that, if somebody's going to reach out and say, hey, listen, I made the wrong choice. I made the wrong decision. I supported the wrong person. I have learned my lessons. Now I see things in such a different light. We want to bring those people up. We want to help those people. We want to just sit there and say, no, you were a dumbass. You did that. You deserve this. You chose all this. You supported it. You are this, for me, that my message out there to everybody, including myself, is to say, okay, listen, this is a point in time. And our mentors do this for us too, Scott. This is a moment in time. This is a moment where we can regress and go, oh man, okay, now I'm going to pick sides and we're going to fight. We're going to go to Dukes. We're going to do the fight or flight. For me, my encouragement out there to everybody is to sit there and take a moment, take a beat, and okay, we're all human beings. We're all here having an existence. And might I be able to, do something internally within myself or within my community to make it a better place? Because I'll end with this comment on this is I've been out in public, not a fair amount, but a decent amount lately. And, with the mask and everything. And I sit there and I think about that 50%. I'm like, 50% of these people, 50% of us, if we sat down and said what we're thinking, we would probably wind up fighting. Yet everybody was being nice. Oh, and I was just like, you know what? People are good people. We just have to figure out how we can spread this to other people to make them realize that it's not us or them. But I don't know. What do you think, Scott? Do you think it's really we're going to be able to have that understanding, or like you said, maybe it's in the next generation?
All right. So go back to the river. Okay. My encouragement to everybody would be jump in the river. And what does that mean? Metaphorically, I'm telling you to go for a swim, but I'm really just talking about surrendering to what we're always talking about with love, transparency, vulnerability. We've got to be the people that are emulating that for others. We've got to share our brilliance. Like when we come here and we want to say exactly what we're thinking in the moment, but I go to the gym or I do a little bit of a workout or I do some meditation or some breathing. And I think about, am I speaking from emotion or am I speaking from a place of my heart? Again, at almost 50 years old, I'm getting much better at speaking from the heart because I truly do the meditation. I do the work, everything I share with everybody I'm doing. But at 20, I mean, Chris, I have no right to speak. And anybody here who knew me at 20, I'm sure some people how the hell are you doing this stuff? And that's exactly why I'm doing this stuff, because I can look at some of these people with empathy and compassion, and I'm going to call them out. And I think there needs to be consequence. But I also think that there's opportunity for transformation in, I don't want to say the worst of us, in those who have the least hope. The worst is not the right term. So a person that thinks that, Trump is their answer and is wearing a donkey costume, whatever the heck that guy had with the stuff in his head and to get Q in his chest. If whatever it took to get to that space, I didn't have those experiences that got me there. And thank goodness.
True. Bang on, dude.
So, but again, I'm not justifying, and I'm not saying there doesn't need to be consequence. What I am saying is, what can we do right now so that we don't lean in so hard that we still have to come back? Like, what do we do to put consequence down, make sure that we spotlight, and I don't want to say spotlight because that puts the light on you, lighthouse, light up the whole area so we can get awareness of what happened, call it out, be honest with it. So what I don't want to do is do that. Here's what a few people try to do to me in the DMs. They're like, well, that stuff with BLM was even worse. Well, that stuff with this was even worse. Why don't you complain about this? What about this? What about this? I go, I was focused on something that I was watching happen. I wasn't having your discussions with you. I don't even want to get into that. You're whataboutisming everything. What I want to start doing is I want to just look at something that's broken, collectively say, how can we fix this together? And is this something that we still want to exist in the better tomorrow? And those are the things that we got to start doing. And so what does that mean? Is there a, educational system, shift? There's a political system shift. What Stacey Abrams just did to get all these people to come out and vote, people who didn't think they had a voice. I mean, Chris, we talk about that in the love model, the V in voice and love. I mean, the fact, regardless of what political party you believe in, and again, I don't believe in one or the other. It's just one was really easy to not support this time. But when someone goes and gets people to believe that their voice matters and gets them to wake up, That's very important for this country and humanity, because people who didn't have hope, who said, I don't matter, I'm just this skin color, I'm just this gender, or I'm just this, when they stepped up and came to exercise their right to vote, they had hope. And so whoever's listening to this right now, celebrate that, because I want, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I want everybody from the city who doesn't vote, from every rural county who hasn't voted, I want everybody to step up and become part of this process. I want everybody to pick up a piece of trash. I want everybody to be less complicit in what we see going on around us. Be part of the solution, not the problem. We say it all the time. Do the littlest thing. Like, you want to do something over the next 4 years, whether you like the president or not, then do something. Don't worry about who's there. And you might sit here and say, yeah, but you guys all complained for the last 4 years. That was not political. For me, for anybody I know, that was based on integrity. And this is not somebody, when I used to go into schools, kids were afraid because they said people are becoming more racist, people are becoming this, people are becoming that, because he emboldened people to not be their best. Whatever we need to do right now needs to be the beacons and the lighthouses that encourage people to be their best. So in other words, we need to be our best independently, realizing we're our own heroes, and stop looking up to those people. But it happened so fast and so aggressively, the response was difficult, and here we are.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Beautifully said, Scott. I mean, there's it really is about that perspective. And I love how you said that. You know, we don't know what another person has been through. And I look at it this way. When I've had people who have approached me and like, you know, what do you think? Da, da, da. I'm like, you know what I think? I think if I was that person and I focused on that news media and I focused on all the things that my friends around me were telling me, and I focused on all that, might I have the same opinion and decision about what's going on? Of course not. No, I would have a totally different perspective. If I sat there and watched Fox News or watched another news agency or watched this, you know, online publication or something like that and did it for months, I would probably be like, oh man, maybe, you know, either way, either side could do that. If you spent 4 weeks like watching everything else, you'd be like, well, maybe I'm fucked up. We would all be in that situation because the media is so strong and we're being manipulated. We're being fucking manipulated, ladies and gentlemen. We're pawns in a fucking game, and we all have to stand up individually and collectively as a whole to make this better. We can change this. We can do this. We can do this without violence and aggravation and hurting innocent people. I mean, my heart goes out to the 35-year-old veteran who yesterday was shot in the Capitol building. And, you know, I quite honestly, I think she's stupid for trying to go into the Capitol building, but at the same time, I respect everything that she has done. And it breaks my heart to think that somebody would be at that position in their life where they think that that's all right to do. Just drives me crazy. But Scott, we have so many comments, and I apologize to you guys. There must be a technical difficulty with StreamYard. So I've got your comments up here. What's up, Pamela? Nice to see you. Hope is, John Harrell says again, hope is what is keep us going. Nelly says, it is hopeful that some of the Trump supporters in Washington are finally dissing him. I would tend to agree with that. I was pretty surprised at how many people were exiting, and just, I mean, it's just another situation where, you know, it's okay. You know, that's one of the things I also wanted to stress, Scott, is it's okay to sit there and say, you know what, I believed in him up until yesterday. I believed in him up until a point. It's okay. Sunk cost bias is something like, oh, I've been doing this. Now all of a sudden it's okay to say, you know what, I made an error in my judgment. I thought this was something that I was seeing. We all do it. We go to a job, we think it's something, and we leave the job. We in a relationship, we leave the relationship. So I think that's very important for us to consider that. And let's see, trying to get to these comments. There's so many good ones too. I'm like crazy. Nelly had said, it's like they show some of them and they don't show all of them. And like they disappear. My iPad has them. But I just want to acknowledge you guys because you guys got some great conversations.
Yeah, go check those out. I want to drop something too, just echoing what you just said. I think it's so, one of the things I always remember hearing as a kid in politics, I remember my grandfather complaining about politics, and they would always be like, the flip-floppers, they're flip-flopping. And as I got older, I was like, wait a second. Flip-flop, by definition of most of these people who are criticizing, is really evolution of thought. It's really, I got new information and I changed my mind or my opinion. So the negative the negative like connotation of flip-flopping, of evolving my thought, is crazy. Like, it's literally insane. I want a politician, or I want a person who's my friend or somebody I connect with, to constantly change, because how much new information do you get daily? Whatever I think now is based on the experience I've had till today with the information I've been given. I need to be changing my thoughts. That means I'm not hanging on to the tree. I'm seeing new scenery as I'm going down the river. So I'm seeing new views. So I not only do I welcome people who I heavily disagreed with yesterday, I can't wait to talk to you. I honestly can't. And I've had friends that I don't speak to. And you and I have talked about this, Chris. I've got friends that were some of my best friends that I don't speak to anymore because they were toxic to me. They weren't supporting my energy. They weren't allowing me to flow down the river. They were holding me back from flowing down the river. But if they come floating by again and they let go of that tree, I'm gonna be like, cool river, right, bro? And we're gonna flow right along again. And that's how I feel. And I know you do too. And I encourage all of us to feel like that. Someone's gonna come back floating by in the river, and you're gonna be like, but you were back there. And they're like, I swam ahead because I learned something. Cool. Tell me what you learned, and let's swim along together. So
exactly, just you reach a hand back and you bring somebody up. Okay, so we got a lot of comments. Let's see, catching up here. John Harrell again, brilliant. Thank you for being here, John. See-through people, just don't look at them. Yes, absolutely. Teresa Adams Hennessy says we can write our new future. Absolutely agree to that. Richard Rogers says we have the right to demonstrate peacefully, not destroy things. Couldn't agree with you more on all aspects of every aspect of life. You know, all of it drives me crazy. It's like, why would you ruin your own neighborhood? But again, that's a symptom of a problem that they're trying to get to figure out. Which is, it's heartbreaking, but there's just a lot of pain going on in the world. And Nelly says, did you see the noose and the Confederate flag? Disgraceful. Yeah, I didn't see the noose. Thank you for reminding me about that. Anna De Perez, thank you for being here. Right on. She said, well said, Scott. Something you said, which was brilliant, of course. Teresa Turner says, hi, guys. John Harrell again says, I want everyone to be fed, to have a safe community to live in. We have the resources to accomplish this. Holy crap, we do. I mean, look at how much money people are making hand over fist. It's like, that blows my mind. We should do a show on that. Like, you know, what would it take for all, you know, like pick 10 billionaires and be like, okay, we could solve world hunger. We could make people, I mean, I agree with you guys wholeheartedly. Teresa Adams Hennessy says, my new motto right now is lead with love. Right on, right on. Some lady named Patricia is humanity needs to be aligned to our teachers. Like the both of you are deep diving into truth. I am not political, but as a human, there is an infringement in the ethic realm. We will view this through the lens of compassion and pray for those who are not there yet. Absolutely, Patricia. That's exactly what me and Scott are saying. Oh yeah, John says, watch The Freedom Riders. Yeah, that great movie. Let's see. Jacqueline says, just wish people can voice their views without getting bashed, whether it be friends, people you don't know, or family members. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing we should all get out of this, is to be able to go back to the old days where you would have a family dinner and be able to talk politics. They're like, okay, I disagree. Hey, fuck you. Blah, blah, blah. No. And then you hug it out and you're like, okay, well, I'll see you later. You know, we don't talk about it anymore. We're afraid of that. There's that fear of having communication now, Scott, and it drives me bonkers. Let's see. Nelly says that's 100. Chris Rausch, no way would an African-American or any other person of color just walk out like those bitches did. I like your language.
Said it like it was.
Teresa Adams Hennessy says, with all that said, I believe we have great opportunities ahead of us, especially where we're healing spirits and souls. Absolutely. Anna De Press says, reflection on one's behavior takes real courage. Change isn't easy, but inevitable if we are to survive. Absolutely. Yes. Reflection.
And to thrive, never mind just survive. I mean, we can survive without change, but growth and thriving, we've got to embrace that change.
Yes, absolutely. What's weird? The comments just, something's wrong with the comments. Like sometimes so JR, we got another one here. So the incoming crew has less than 2 weeks to inauguration, yet we are hearing impeachment and 25th Amendment invoked. Yeah. I mean, that will be a super interesting situation, right? I haven't listened to the Watch News this morning or today, but I know they were looking at that last night, the 25th Amendment and some other stuff. It's just craziness what is going on. Mark Gasser, what's up, Matt? Mark Gasser, replay. We're still live, dude. He's like, replay, great show.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
Oh shit. Oh, and there's Eric Swanson, says healthy disagreements. Eric Swanson, hey, good to see you, brother. one thing I want to say, actually Angel says right here, and again, we thank you guys for being here. Angel says, I can post these ones up here. Where are you watching from, Angel? Tell me, are you watching from which one, are you watching from the
Facebook,
Unfiltered Experience group or YouTube or my Facebook page? She says, by being here and doing what you're doing, Christopher Rausch and Scott Goyette is a step in the right direction of positivity. This is what we needed to move forward towards brilliance, peace, love, growth, and unity that has lost its way in our society. Absolutely. Absolutely. Angel says, I hope for brilliance. Yes, I believe that. I believe there's a breaking point, and I pray, and I really do pray. I pray that there's that point where people go, okay, enough is enough. This is not working. This division, what it's doing to our world. Let's okay. We've had our disagreement. Let's come together. That's what I see. Scott, final thoughts. I wanted to keep this to under an hour out of respect for everybody, and just give you guys an honest place to come here. So if you have questions, if you have things going on, please send us to Eric Swanson says, I'm watching from the Capitol. Of course you are. Mr. Awesome's always in the Capitol. No. So final thoughts and suggestions on for the people that are really truly out there hurting not from a pain standpoint, from a sheer anger standpoint, because I know so many people right now are volatile, it's this and it's that, and they're tied to their beliefs and their opinions, and they're just driving themselves crazy. And before that spills out into more, where do we go from that?
So here's the thing, and this is the simple reality of our world right now, is nobody's ever taught us how to manage our emotions. If anything, we've been taught the opposite. So we've been taught to compartmentalize all this. And so we've got layers of fear, of shame, of sadness, of anger, and they come firing out of us and the responses to the world around us. So the first thing we've got to do is feel. So if you're mad right now, maybe don't get on and do a live. Or maybe do it. I mean, it's your process. Like, this is your world. When you float into the river, if you need to come on and do it, then do it. But I would ask yourself, it's kind of like getting a tattoo. Do I want this to be part of me for the rest of my life? And will it stick with me? So, I say that to my daughter. She wants to get those gauged earrings. And I'm like, you're 14. Like, do you really want that forever? She's like, but it's so cool. I'm like, I support you 100%. That's how this world's going to be. I'm like, but I'm going to give you my opinion. Write it down so you remember it. I wouldn't do it, but
it's like, I was right.
Yeah. It's not an I'm right thing. It's someday you're going to be sitting here saying, look at these big weird ear things. So, but here's what I want people to really start doing. Feel what you're feeling right now. So if you're pissed off, or if you don't like something we said, or if something triggered you, go embrace that feeling. That's what you're supposed to be doing right now, is feeling that feeling. A 2-second plug for what we're doing too. Chris and I are doing a program for 12 weeks that works through a lot of this stuff. People come out the other side, change people. Maybe that's something you want to do, but I don't care what you do. I don't care if it's our program, somebody else's program, your own process, meditation, long walks, going for a jog. Work through your feelings and process them, because it's not healthy. People get cancer, people get dis-ease from not working these things out. So for starters, do that. Then you're going to have more mental clarity, and with clarity will come the solutions that we're looking for, I promise. With confusion and with chaos, the solutions won't come. This chaos is necessary, but that's not where the solutions come. That's the prompt for those solutions. So we're in the right space. Work through your feelings. If Chris or I can help you, feel free to connect with either of us, whether it's one-on-one, through coaching, through group coaching, just a quick email. We're there for you. So we love you guys. Thank you. And hopefully that was useful for you, because connecting to you guys is very useful for us. And we thank you.
Yes, couldn't agree more. And Eric says, embrace that feeling, but not in a violent way, of course. Yep, do the work. Richard Rogers says, thank you both. Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Scott. I mean, it really, again, when I think about I was like, okay, what advice would I give somebody right now? Because it's just, you can't say something and have them go, okay, geez, Chris, I'm going to do that. I'm going to feel better. My advice and my suggestions for how I process through this, because it really is the baby in the bathwater. And I look at it this way, Scott, I'm not going to, at least at this point, like, do that. Right. I look at it this way that, like you said before, we are the light. We are what we want to be for the future. This is what we want the world to be. And rather than doing that, my choice is to sit there and say, okay, I have respect and empathy and forgiveness for those who may have made wrong decisions. And you and I teach this in the group, which you brought up, is the fact of forgiveness and empathy. That's something we all as humans, like really run short on sometimes. I mean, some of us run high on empathy. I know that personally. I mean, it's like same thing with you. Poor Oren in our group. He was like, now I'm empathetic now. Damn it. Shit. What the hell happened to me? It's like, no, you're growing. You're growing. You're realizing we are more of one than we are of being different. It's like when Glenn Morshower talks about the water. I did this exercise with him. We actually went down to the ocean. We got water. We brought it back and we talked about it. And we're like, we're just a part. We're this. You go put us back. We're all the same. So my suggestion would be to, as much, look inward and see where this hate and this anger and this frustration is coming from. There's a representation in your life that you may see this and focus on this, but I just encourage you not to have one-sided opinions, not to be stuck in so much angst and anger and frustration and retaliation and everything else. You know, it's good to look at this as an opportunity. Like they said, I can't remember who said it, but you know, when it gets to this point and people are on the Senate floor and doing these things, this should be a wake-up call for everybody in the United States, in the world, to say, hey, listen, we have a voice, we have a choice in what we can do with our actions every single day. You know, I personally, I've said this before on some of our other shows, I did not do it. I've always voted, but I've never done a great job of really understanding the initiatives and the candidates, even in my local sector. So I made a vow, my wife made a vow this year, that anytime something's coming up, we're really going to dig into that and find out, okay, is this person the right person for the school district seat? Is this person the right, for like stupid positions? But that's where it all starts, because then they get their buddies in and that all changes. So my other invitation out there is all the young people, band together and let's all together make this world a much better place. You know, some of the older people may not be on board with that, and that's okay, but together we can all, cross arms and make a big difference in the world. And that's what Scott and I are here to do, especially with the Unfiltered Experience. You know, this is your opportunity to blend with us and have a great conversation where we can talk about what's frustrating us, but at the same time say, what can we do to make that better?
Challenge the kids, man. You just said that. That's what I heard. Like everything you were just saying when you were talking about, like, let the kids lead. Like, stop telling the kids like to be quiet, or stop telling them all the things they're doing wrong. Like, here's the deal. Our brains are stuck in all these things that we think are truth. Let them just uncover the truth. They're going to figure this out better than us. And I have no problem not taking the lead. I'll support, I'll be a support mechanism, but I'm looking forward to watching the heart smart youth of tomorrow take over and fix all this. And I don't want them to have to fix it, but they're going to be able to fix it. So here we are.
Absolutely, Scott. One last thing before we jump off, and then who do we have? We have our real Unfiltered Experience show tomorrow night, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Who do we have on tomorrow?
So tomorrow we've got Emilio Andreas Palafox and his new-to-be wife, because they just got engaged, Rachel Brooks Smith. And Rachel is an actress. She's been in a bunch of different films, including like Bring It On, a whole bunch of those dance films that a lot of the kids are, into. Super amazing dancer, great person. They're going to be talking together about relationships. Emilio is the ultimate biohacker, and anything to do with fitness and health, he knows way more than he should, to a point of it's insane in a good way. So we're going to have so much good information from them. Then the following week, we've got an amazing person coming on who's going to be teaching us about breath work. And so we're going to actually have some live breath work that we're going to be doing. So we're going to do a quick vote with you guys to come on and see what type of breath work you want. So something that's based on anxiety, trauma, stress, we're going to help you heal that. Then another great friend of mine, Randy Pierce. He's been blind since 22 years old. He's done, if I remember correctly, 27 or 17 Boston marathons in qualifying time. That is insane. This man is 6'4", 230 pounds, running blind. He's also climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. He is the epitome of resilience. Do not miss our first 3 shows, because I talk a lot. I'm just going to shut up and just listen to these people, because they're so smart and they're so amazing. And I feel blessed to have them on board.
Absolutely. No, I'm excited, Scott. I mean, this relaunch of the Unfiltered Experience is something that I see growing fastly and hugely, just because this is what the world needs. The world needs more of this. So thank you, brother, personally, for being in my life and being a sounding board and keeping me from going batshit crazy sometimes. Anna, thank you. She says, thank you, truly enlightened. We love you guys, seriously. So come back again tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can go to our Facebook group page, our Facebook page, of course, the Unfiltered Experience. Please go there, like the page. That way you can see the stream. And we will see you tomorrow night. And just go ahead and go out there and be a part of the solution, not part of the problem. We love you guys, and we will see you tomorrow night.
Peace out.